Friendship is one of the most essential but often overlooked aspects of our well-being. Not only does the research show that friendships keep us mentally healthy, but studies also show that they keep us physically healthy. So as adults, though, making and maintaining friendships can feel more complicated than it once did, maybe leaving you feeling disconnected or unsure of how to build meaningful connections. Today, we'll explore what it truly means to be a good friend, how to create new friendships as an adult, and what makes a friendship healthy and fulfilling. You'll also learn how to recognize when a friendship is no longer serving you and how to let go with some grace. And we'll, of course, answer that age-old question, can men and women be friends? So whether you're looking to strengthen your current friendships, meet new people, or navigate your social anxiety in these situations, you're going to walk away today with actionable tools and insights to build the kind of friendships you really want, the ones that bring you joy, ease, and connection into your life. So stay tuned. So happy to have you back here on the podcast. You know who I am. Welcome to friendship. Everything you wanted to know, everything you didn't know to ask, all the things. And friendship has been a bigger issue since the pandemic for sure. But I have always talked to my clients about their friends. That's one of the things when I'm doing an intake with someone, a new client, I ask them about their friendships. One of the things, who are you closest to? Who are your people? Because I know it's going to give me so much insight into what we need to work on. If there's nobody there, that's something. If there's maybe too many people there, that's something, all the things. So it's a really important part of your overall health. So something we have to talk about. And I want to say that there's a 7-day friendship challenge I'm going to offer today. And if, so you can take everything you're going to learn today and put it into action. So you can download that below the video. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. Don't forget, please leave a comment, let me know. Or you can get it off the website, abbymedcalf.com, on the relationship tips and tools page, which is the blog basically for this episode, or go to the podcast, what we call the show notes page, which is also there's a ton of research in today's episode. All of that is linked in those places if you want it. And as I've been doing, because I have my wonderful online Patreon community, I have a masterclass bundle for this episode, like a masterclass on friendship, which you can buy for $8 if you are not part of my collective. So it's free for the different tiers of my online Patreon community, which we call the One Love Collective. But if you have no interest in joining, which, I understand if that's not something you want to do ongoing, you can get everything on this topic, everything I'm going to give to my community, you can get separately. So you can it's for people who want to dive deep, who this is a real problem for and really need some help, like some hand holding, getting from A to B. So I'm going to list everything at the very end. Stay till then if you're, thinking you might be interested in getting the bundle if you're not part of the community. Or maybe becoming part of the community. We're having a lot of fun over there. So the live Q&As and there's all this community chats going on, and I'm in there every day. I love it. I love the One Love Collective. It's bringing me much joy. So, all right, let's get to it. Where are we going to start? So, so as I just said, we're in this post-pandemic world, right? Where it is easier and easier to have no contact with people, period. So friendships, of course, can feel like a really tough hill to climb. A lot of people used to be in the office. You could go out for, drinks after work really easily, or just kind of hang out at the water cooler, so to speak, and talk about, what you're watching or what's going on in your life or your kids or your partner or whatever, or how it is hell being single in San Francisco, or whatever, right? There used to be more spaces to do that. We don't really do that so much in an online Zoom meeting, right? You don't have those sort of casual places to just connect with people. Or maybe you are out in the world. I got a lot of clients who are out in the world and they are trying to connect, but it seems like everybody's on their phone. So there's not like an opening to strike up a conversation. I think about, when I was younger and you'd wait for a bus, let's say, and you'd be sitting there. And if you were waiting for the same bus every day, as I see people do, I see the same people waiting, on my way to work. I'll see people at bus stops, like same people, you can tell, and they're not talking. Every single person is on their phone. These were times when we used to strike up friendships. We used to, you could actually really get to know someone and maybe even date that person. Who knows what could happen because you were talking. You weren't all staring at a screen. There was just so many more opportunities to catch someone's eye, to say hi, to do something. And those are really lost. And I feel bad for folks right now. And this is the only time I'm glad to be older. Because trust me, older sucks. But because I really have already, created and built so many friendships and feel really good about them and how many are in my life. Although I'll tell you, I'm often adding new people. It does happen. And so I know there are obstacles to friendship, but investing time and energy into growing your friendships and strengthening your community is so worth it. Again, not only does the research show that friendships keep us, again, mentally healthy, but also physically healthy. There was a study I read from the Mayo Clinic that found that adults, I want to say this right, adults with strong social connections have a lower risk of a ton of health problems and mental health problems like depression, high blood pressure. It's significant. So let's get into it. What does it mean to be a good friend? I have to tell you, this is something I have to go over with clients a lot. So I have clients say, I got a ton of friends. And then when I go over like the relationship with these people, I'm like, these people aren't friends. These are acquaintances. These are people who you know. They're not acting as friends as far as what I think friends are and what the research would back me up on. Because at its core, friendship is a combination. It's a combination of mutual affection, of trust and support. And again, the research says that a true friend is someone who has basically 5 qualities, okay? So one, they offer emotional support. They're there during your life's highs, during the lows. They provide a listening ear, an empathetic heart, right? All that. 2, they engage in shared activities. That happens a lot. So enjoying common interests really strengthens bonds and creates lasting memories. That doesn't mean you both have to like to jog. It does mean that there have to be kind of common interests, or at least maybe you have the same political affiliation. Maybe you have the same religious affiliation. Maybe you just are both parents with kids at the same elementary school. You don't have to have this thing. My bestie Rhonda and I have never been on a jog together on any. I love shopping. She doesn't. I don't know. It's not like we don't eat the same foods, but there's a huge well of shared ways that we speak, of things that we align upon. Okay. The number 3 is someone who provides honest feedback. Again, this is both ways. This is a friendship. So they offer constructive comments, always aiming for your growth and well-being. You don't feel criticized or judged by this person. And number 4, they respect your boundaries. They understand and honor personal limits. And that is really crucial for a balanced, healthy relationship. And number 5 is that they celebrate your successes. So a genuine friend rejoices in your achievements. You can't wait to tell them. There's no envy. There's no resentment. They are so excited for your win. And if anything, they see it as a win for the friendship. Like, wow, you're happier, or you're making more money now. That's more money in the friendship. This is great. You're seeing everything as sort of a shared battery, much like you might with a partner. And when you have all those elements together, you've really got a person who can be a true friend. So let's talk about. So let me also talk. Yeah, I know what I'm going to put. I know what I'm going to put in here. Don't worry, I got it. I want to talk about then what makes a healthy friendship between the two of you, right? So it's obviously for you to have these 5 qualities I just mentioned, but there's actually more things that the research points out that make up a healthy friendship. So actually, I'm going to add to that list of a healthy friendship. Okay, I am. Yeah. So they're characterized by those five, but there's other things. And maybe I'm repeating myself. I'm trying to think. Maybe these things overlap. They might overlap a little, but I want to say them anyway. Again, mutual respect. So valuing each other's opinions, feelings, again, boundaries. There's a high level of trust. There's confidence that shared secrets and vulnerabilities are safe, right? Reciprocity is a big one, again, from the research. A balanced give and take in support, in effort, in communication, right? Really, really important. It does not mean, I want to be really clear, that I have some friends where I have to tell you, they're always the one who reaches out first. Always. It does not mean that, oh, if I reach out, then you have to reach out. That's keeping score. That is unhealthy on every scale. So you have to figure out, these friends who tend to call me or contact me first, they get a lot out of our friendship because I'm also the person who will show up 100% when you need me. And I don't like to talk on the phone. I'm not a big phone talker. I'm pretty tired at the end of my day. We know when I don't want to talk anymore. I talk all day. I'm a talker. Believe it or not, I like to shut up sometimes. So I do, I've like Gary too, he knows, like, I just don't have a lot of energy for major conversation late in the day. And that's, I'm working all day. So that's usually when we would talk to friends. My sister, I always call it like 2 p.m. when I have a break with things because I tend to end the day early. But a lot of people are still at work when I have the energy to talk. Often people are at work or doing something. My East Coast friends are already like getting the kids or having dinner with the family, or by the time I'm like 3 p.m. and I'm ready to chat. But then when it comes to be 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, I go to bed at 9. Like 8 o'clock, I'm already in bed, frankly. I am. Now you can know that. I'm in bed. I'm doing quiet time. I'm doing Abby time. I am just doing, reading, just something that's very, listening to music sometimes, just me time. And I need that to, sometimes I do my meditation then. It just depends. A little meditation. I always do my meditation in the morning, but sometimes I do a little extra one then. It just depends, but it's my time. I don't have to answer to anybody, nothing. And so, if it's 7 o'clock and I get up at, 4:30, I'm not that fun to talk to that late. So I just want to say that, like, don't do the 50-50 thing because that's keeping score and that's not friendship. I would also say, and the research would back me up, that being a positive influence is really key in a healthy friendship. Like, you encourage each other's personal growth and well-being. Again, there's no envy, there's no resentment, there's no holding someone back. A lot of times friends will hold another friend back because they're worried that friend will surpass them and not want to be their friend anymore. They don't worry about that consciously, but subconsciously, that's totally what's going on. The other thing you have to have is healthy conflict resolution. You have to be able to address disagreements openly, respectively, and that really strengthens your bonds. Okay? All right. So how about now, well, I'm thinking of the order. I want to talk now about how you recognize when a friendship is no longer serving you, because this is, like I said, I'll ask people about their friendships and they'll name all these people. And when I ask certain questions, I'm realizing like this friendship isn't serving you. This is a drain on your energy. You're tired when you think of this like this is not the way to be. So it's really I think it's essential to periodically assess the health of your friendships. So, and again, like the research shows that there are 5 signs that a friendship may be detrimental. And by the way, in that bundle I have, the masterclass, I have a friendship audit. It's one of the pieces of the bundle. Again, listen to the end, you'll hear everything that's in it, but I do have a friendship audit so that you can, like a worksheet to help you with this. But when friendships become detrimental, we see consistent negativity, right? The relationship just feels you drained, leaves you feeling drained, unhappy, more than you feel uplifted or energized from it. Okay. So I'm not saying maybe you never feel uplifted and energized, but most of the time you feel the opposite. Not good. When there's a lack of support, your successes are met with indifference, with jealousy. I mean, your friends, they're celebrating for you every single time. Every single time. There's nothing other than that. Again, this kind of one-sided effort, you find yourself continually initiating contact or just being supportive of this person without any reciprocity, right? There's no reciprocation. It's always you push, the energy going out from you and nothing kind of coming back from the other person. Maybe there's repeated boundary violations, right? Just not respecting your personal limits or your values or sort of teasing them or laughing at them. By the way, I wouldn't expect this in any relationship, let alone a friendship, but not your partner, not anybody. There's, like I like some bougie stuff and Rhonda, I'll talk about her, doesn't. But she does, we'll be somewhere. She'll be like, ooh, there's like a Louis Vuitton umbrella. You must want that. Like she'll sort of even point out something I might like that she has no interest in whatsoever. Doesn't really understand why I might like it. Doesn't care. She just knows it makes me happy to look at maybe. So we're going to go look, it's like that. Or she'll tell me, oh, I found this vintage shop near me. Next time you come, we'll go in there. And she doesn't need to go in there, but she'll go in there with me, have fun, look around, pick things up. Like she'll be right there with me. Just, it's not necessarily her favorite thing. Right. So there's this real support, this real, I don't love teasing in relationships. I guess I have to say that. It would have to be super gentle and loving. I think mostly teasing is an FU. And I don't like that. Sorry. I don't usually like to swear. Again, the disrespect of your personal limits. So manipulative behavior, guilt tripping, dishonesty, any form of emotional manipulation that you're feeling, that's an unhealthy friendship. So, and I have 5 steps that I use to let go of unhealthy friendships because it's really critical to address toxic friendships because the research shows that these relationships erode self-trust and often lead to anxiety and depression in you. These are literally bad for your health. So if I'm working with a client and it seems clear they need to give up a particular friendship, I walk them through these 5 steps. This is how we do it. Ready? Ready? Again, you can come to the blog later and this is all written in case, you're listening now and don't have a pen and you have to give up in a relationship. Number 1 is reflect. So that's the assessment. You got to assess the relationship's impact on your mental and emotional health. That's number 1. And so, getting real, not when you're really mad at them in a minute, because then later you're like, oh, never mind, it was okay. But to really sit, and again, maybe with someone else, I don't want you gossiping about your friend with another friend, but if you have a therapist or someone you really trust, it's important, it's a great thing to just assess how, do I always walk away drained? Do I often feel like they're jealous of me? Do I, all the things I mentioned that are unhealthy, if those are showing up most of the time, that's a problem. Or frankly, I would say any of the time. I would never be friends with anybody who I thought was even remotely jealous of me at any moment, who wasn't excited for me, didn't have my back all the time. All the time. There's no excuse not to. Even if they don't agree with me, it doesn't mean they don't have my back. It means they might disagree about something, but they still have my back. 2 is that you communicate it, right? So if possible, I want you to discuss your feelings with your friend and see if you can foster some mutual understanding, right? And you'll be shocked how many times this works. My clients always come, because I do have them do this. I'm like, you got to talk to this person and tell them, like, this isn't working for me. Here's what happens for me. How about you? All the things you've already learned from me about how to have great conversations, how to listen without getting defensive and hurt. One of my most popular episodes ever. How to communicate effectively. I've talked about that ad nauseum on the podcast, so go back and listen to episodes on that. But when you do that well, from a loving heart, not angry, not upset with them, but really just sad, you would be amazed how many people go, oh my gosh, I had no idea. I didn't realize I was doing that. It's kind of amazing. And then there's some who just get defensive and angry, and you can know that it's time to move on, right? The next thing I have them do is really clearly define. It's really setting boundaries, clearly defining what behaviors you can no longer accept. So now you can skip this step. It really depends on how badly you want to keep the relationship, or if it would be too difficult. Sometimes given your friendship circle, it's just, you got to say something because it's going to keep coming up. But sometimes if you're really going to let this relationship go and you are, like you've tried to talk to them and there's nothing there, you can skip this. But if it's someone that you have to keep in your life somewhere, but you want to make them more periphery than central, then be very clear. Be very clear that you know what a boundary is. Actually, just talked about it, I think, in the last episode. Once again, so I'm not going to go into it here, but you have to be clear with your boundaries. And remember, you have to have teeth. You have to have something you're going to do if they continue to do the thing. Listen, if you try to dump on me if you try to keep gossiping with me about other people in our friendship group, then I'm just going to block you or hang up or, whatever. And we can try again another time. Remember, I love saying that. But you can't just keep allowing them, you can't say, well, I asked them not to talk to me this way and they keep doing it. It's like, no, that's on you. So that you say, don't talk to me this way, or I will. And then you have to do the I will. You have to follow through. All right. And then the fourth step is to create some gradual distance. You just want to reduce your interactions over time. You want to allow the relationship to naturally fade. It's not as hard as you think. What people do is they block people. They make this big pronouncement. I'm cutting you off. It's all very dramatic. You can have a very gentle let go, and I think be even more effective. You'll be happier. It won't feel uncomfortable when you're around them. And they maybe even will dig the next time you see them. I've had this when I've let people go. They've been like, oh, I haven't heard from you in so long. I left a message or you always say, I always try to get together with you and you never have time. They sort of jabbing at me, which is the whole reason I don't want to be friends with this person. And I go, yeah, I've been really busy. Like they're getting the hint. No? They're understanding. And if somebody really wanted to go there with me, I think I've only had this once or twice that I can think of in the last 30 years. Someone's just like, well, I don't understand. What's happened? We used to have lunch. Now we don't. I tell them. Usually, again, I've already told them. And I'll refer back. I was like, well, remember we had that conversation a couple months ago and I asked for A and B. And it just seems like we're at different places now. I really appreciate the friendship we had. But I'm in another place of what I kind of want around me. And it seems like you want different things. So, moving on. That's it. Well, don't even tell them what they want. Never mind. Ignore that. Sorry. Undo that. Just talk about you and what you need. But you can gently let go. You can stop responding so quickly. When you do respond to a text of somebody that, I wouldn't say ghost them, but if they were like, hey, what's up? What have you been up to? You can say nothing. Everything's great. That's it. Don't say, and how are you? Don't ask a question to further the conversation. So just say, everything's great. Hope everything's wonderful with you as well. Done. I know. They get the hint. Trust me. People get the hint. They might talk crap behind your back, but oh well. I don't know what to say. Like everyone, again, wants everything to be perfect and everyone loves me still and no one's upset. And that can't be a goal. The goal is that you're going to be honest. You're going to do what you need to do to keep your life in a good place. And that's it. Okay? Good. So prioritize self-care. That's the other thing I say. So you want to engage in activities that really promote your well-being and reinforce the decision you made. So don't sit there and be sad about the friendships or what has happened or not happened, right? Just move along. Now, again, if you're not sure if one of your friendships should be ended, if you're like on the fence, again, as part of this masterclass bundle I keep talking about, I have a quiz. Am I in a healthy relationship, a healthy friendship? So you can take the quiz. Again, you can get the bundle, or if you're in my Patreon community, you already get it. You can take the little quiz and really see, is this someone that falls on one side or the other? I know. What's more fun than a quiz? All right. Let's talk about whether men and women can be friends. So The question of whether men and women can maintain like platonic friendships, there's been obviously a lot of debate, and there has been quite a bit of research for many years now. In the research, these are referred to as cross-sex friendships. And they really, these kind of friendships can offer, there's really a lot of unique perspectives and benefits for like me being friends with a man. But of course, can also be challenges, right? There's three main areas of research when it comes to trying to answer this question: can men and women be friends? There's number one, and this is what you have to think about. This perceptions and expectations is first, right? Research shows that men are more likely to perceive sexual attraction in cross-sex friendships than women do, which obviously can lead to differing expectations within the relationship. So you have to keep that in mind for sure. If there is any flirting or any of that, and you're partnered with someone, you really I think you have to take a serious look at that. I definitely have friendships with men. Most of them are professional, and am very comfortable in those relationships, but I'm certainly not as close with any men as I am with the women in my life. Any straight men than I am with the women in my life. Let me say that. So, and I think obviously being friends with someone who's gay, a man who's gay, really, obviously the sexual dynamic is not there in the same way. And so that really creates something deeper and safer, I think, in the relationship. And again, so attraction dynamics overall, in cross-sex friendships is common. Believe it or not, there is often attraction in these cross-sex friendships, and it can be, a bit of a benefit and a burden. So some friendships navigate this attraction really successfully, but others experience a lot of complications, especially if the attraction isn't reciprocated. So I think these are the things you have to talk about. It has to be out there. You can't have ulterior motives, either of you. That's a problem. That's a problem. Because you're not being transparent. You're not being really honest. So is that a friendship? I don't think so. And then, of course, social and cultural factors are looked at a lot in the research. Societal norms, personal beliefs can obviously influence really the formation of these friendships at all, the maintenance of cross-sex friendships. So, let's say you have somebody with higher levels of homophobia. They're less likely, from the research, to engage in cross-sex friendships, probably because they have fears of appearing like too feminine or too masculine or something like that. But we know from the research that they don't do well. But a lot of men and women, I've met them over the years. They do exist. They really can maintain fulfilling platonic relationships. I'm thinking of a client I have in particular. She had a large friendship group in college, and she was really good friends with a couple of the guys, like maybe dated their best friend or something, never dated these guys. And then she ended up introducing them to girlfriends of hers. Like they just never had like a sexual connection, she and these like certain friends in college. And they now are friends with friends, or married even to friends of hers, or in relationships with her friends. And she sometimes goes out to lunch with just him, just the guy, because she has a friendship with him. And it's really a lovely thing. And sometimes it's the two of them, the wife and husband. And other times it's just like she's able to maintain these different kinds of friendships. Sometimes she wants a male opinion on something, even with her own husband. And so she'll invite, one of them out to lunch. It's like, I want to pick your brain. Or maybe it's something at work where she wants to understand better some dynamics and wants a male point of view. I feel like she uses these friendships, or she maintains these balances better than any other client I've ever met, or even myself. I'm always really impressed when she talks about them. So, because you can just tell there's a lot of genuine support, affection, clarity. There's a really nice vibe. Anyway, so clear communication, obviously, you got to set boundaries. And that's really essential because, both people have to have aligned expectations. Okay. All right. So let's get there. Let's talk about the challenges in making friends as an adult And I want to say around the world for a minute, okay, before we get into how you do it. Hold on. I got to take a sip. I'm drinking some sweet tea today. Does anybody else like sweet tea? Okay. I don't ever drink cold tea, but I don't know. Sweet tea, it just sounded good. All right. So since, you're listening from all around the world, thank you, by the way. I mean, oh my gosh. I got an email from Scotland, not today, yesterday. I get emails from all over the world. We're in 180 plus countries. It's really one of the coolest parts of my job. And I know everything is pretty US centric that I talk about, of course, because that's where I live and that's who I am. But I always try to do, when I do these kinds of things, to really give you an idea of, is this different in other countries? Like, is the friendship issue, is it hard for everybody to make friends? So I did some digging around. And it's not just a United States based issue. It seems like making friends as an adult is challenging no matter where you live. So Americans find it challenging to make new friends. There were studies. There was one out of Colorado State University. They're from all over. I think this one, though, is Colorado State. Again, it'll be in the blog, the exact place I got this from if I'm misquoting, so I apologize. But I know the numbers are right. It found that 51% of Americans felt it was difficult to make new friends, and 62% said it was easier to make friends at another time in their life, right? That makes sense, doesn't it? So then I looked at Australia. Love you, Australia. Hello, my Australians. There's so many of you. I love you. I love you. I love you all. Love my Australians. In Australia, the difficulty of making friends as an adult is also common. It's a sentiment I saw in many of the research papers I looked at. So what they talked about is that many Australians maintain strong bonds with friends from high school or university, and it makes it really challenging for newcomers or those seeking new connections to integrate into established social circles. And I was reading in one article that someone said that breaking into these like tight-knit groups often required dating someone within the circle. So I thought that was interesting, right? And again, I think these are probably true in US and other places, but the UK also, love you UK, United Kingdom, Great Britain, that whole area. It was hard to find specific studies on adult friendship. I thought the studies were kind of limited, but what I did find, the challenges did seem similar. It really highlighted that striking up friendships can be tricky as an adult. I mean, that's it. And there was definitely this sort of loneliness epidemic, really lots of writing about that across the pond. I know. I had a look at Canada, because you're right here. Hello, Canada. And they have a phenomenon, get this, termed friendship recession. They call it the friendship recession. And it's talking about a decline in the number of close friends people have. And that trend is associated with, again, increased feelings of loneliness, social isolation among adults, right? The research there showed that the factors that contribute to this friendship recession, one of them, which is a biggie, is urban planning that limits communal spaces, right? I thought that was really interesting. And the rise, of course, of technology, reducing, all those face-to-face interactions that we have. I looked up Japan, and making friends as an adult can be particularly challenging because of the cultural norms there that emphasize group cohesion and established social circles. So many Japanese people, the research showed, form deep bonds during, again, their school years. Again, that's pretty typical across the world, I think. And these relationships often persist into adulthood, making it difficult, again, for newcomers to integrate into there. And they have a concept, I apologize if I butcher this, hikikomori. It's like Hikikomori. Help me, Japanese friends. And that refers to individuals who withdraw from social life. That's what that is. People just withdraw from social life. And again, it's kind of highlighting this extreme to me, the kind of the extreme end of social isolation, right? But that's becoming more and more prevalent in Japanese society. I looked up South Korea. They experienced their own set of challenges regarding adult friendship. They have something called, again, I'm going to probably butcher it, the honjok phenomenon, they call it, Honjok, where individuals, again, prefer solitary activities. To them, this reflects a growing trend of social isolation, of course, also, but they attribute it to the country's super competitive environment. So a lot of people are prioritizing personal success over social connections. So again, right? Incredible, right? So no matter where you're from, there are definitely some shared factors to think about, why it's hard to make friends as an adult. Of course, time constraints are top of the list, right? Balancing work, family, other responsibility. It leaves you limited, right? You're limited in your time for how much you can socialize. Again, this issue of established social circles that are already in place. Many adults already have established friend groups. It's hard to integrate those new circles. Decreased social opportunities, right there. So unlike school or college, adult life offers fewer natural environments to meet new people. And again, with remote work and all the technology and all the things, it's harder and harder to meet people. And then, of course, there's the classic fear of rejection, right? So your own insecurities, maybe bad past experiences, can really make you hesitant to initiate new friendships, and that can be hard. So let's get to the goods. Here are 5 ways to make friends as an adult. Okay, so 5 ways. Now, I have a list of 50 that's part of that bundle if you want to get it. And again, it's there for my Patreon community, but my online One Love Collective. But if you want to get the bundle for the $8, I have a list of 50. So, but I'm going to give you 5 because I always give here on the podcast, as you know. I always promised you I'd never stop giving. So again, it's daunting, but it's achievable. You just have to have. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that way. It sounds so dismissive. You need to have some specific, intentional effort. But the research shows that engaging in or utilizing in some way these 5 things will really help. Okay, so I'm giving you 5 straight from the research. My list of 50 is from all kinds of different resources and thoughts and what's worked with clients in the past, all that. Okay, so number 1 is you're not going to be surprised, find shared interests. So that's, and I'm going to talk about the social anxiety piece to this after this, okay? So I have special stuff for the social people who feel anxious or a little more introverted and anything like that. But joining clubs, classes, groups that align somehow with your hobbies or your loves in life or your passions. Because, shared activities naturally facilitate connection. It doesn't take, you don't have to be Freud to know that, right? The next thing is definitely leveraging your existing networks. I don't think people do this enough. So attending social gatherings or events within your current circles to meet new people. I hear this a lot. I'll say to someone, well, why don't you go to that thing? You never know. Maybe someone has a brother they've never told you about, if you're dating, right? Or maybe you just don't know. Maybe someone's going to bring a different friend that you're going to hit it off with. You don't know. I know you think, it's the same people having the same conversations, but especially if you go in with the attitude of trying to meet new people, you can also find out what these people that you already know are doing. Who are they talking to? What are they doing in their spare time? See if there's something new you can hook on to, right? A third thing you can do is volunteering. Again, this is from the research, very effective. Participating in community service, it introduces you to like-minded people who are committed to similar causes. So it is such a good place and you're volunteering, you're doing this beautiful thing. It's such a great way to connect, to give while you're making new connections. Next is being open and approachable. This is big, people. You have to display openness through your body language. And, you're going to need to initiate some conversations to break the ice. I love, 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 have a nerd crush on Vanessa Van Edwards. If you haven't, she has a book called Q. She has a bunch of books. I think one of them is called Q. Um, Look up Vanessa Van Edwards. She has so many tips. She's a researcher. She's amazing. Who so many tips around how you need to, like, what we know from the research to create a connection with other people. I mean, it's amazing. Like one of them she talks about is just how you stand with your feet sort of slightly apart, like pointed out. Like the more open your body posture is, the more likely people are to come over to you. Like don't hold a drink in front of your body. Don't, open, I know, vulnerable, make eye contact, look up, smile at people. Don't be afraid. That these are ways that people actually come up to you. And I know I had this for years and years and years, that I would go to parties, I would go to conventions, I would go to trainings. Anywhere I went, I would go in and I'm smiling. I thought nobody would approach me. I mean, nobody would approach me. And a few years ago, I really worked on changing that. So somehow, I just gave off this vibe, of like, don't F with me or I don't know, I'm not interested. I don't know why, because I'm so friggin' friendly. I think I'm a golden retriever, but people were seeing like a Doberman or something, growling at them. So I really worked on that. And I worked on asking others, asking. I remember at one social event I was at, I met like this woman was sitting near me and then everybody was going to dinner. And I said to her, hey, would you like to sit together at dinner? Like I just asked. It was hard to do. I just pushed myself to do it. And sure enough, like I didn't end up like super good friends with her, but I ended up meeting all these people who were at that table. So where I probably wouldn't have sat otherwise. Definitely utilize professional networks. Colleagues can transition to friends, especially when you find common ground beyond work topics. Today, a psychiatrist I'd never spoken to before called me about a mutual client. And so we were on the phone, it's a woman, and I'm like, God, I like her, as we're chatting and about this client. I've never talked to her before. And I said at the end of the conversation, hey, I would really love to just catch up and hear more about your practice and just kind of get to know you more. Is that good? Can I reach out? And she's like, oh my God, I'd love that. So, like right there, I thought, let me leverage this. Who knows what this could be? And I'm not just thinking, I'm going to use this woman. Of course, I liked her. If I hadn't liked her, I wouldn't have asked. But I loved her I thought, this is a psychiatrist I might even want to refer to a lot. Like I think she's got something here. So do you know what I mean? But this is how we do things. And then for sure, again, from the research, using technology can absolutely help you create adult friendships. There's apps, there's online communities. Hello, One Love Collective. What did I start? Yes. These are really valuable tools for meeting new people. Again, I know a lot of our life is online. And I'm talking about having more in-person friendships. But I'll tell you, Rhonda doesn't live in California. She lives 3,000 miles away on the East Coast. So she's back in New York. Like, I don't see her all the time. And we have a very deep friendship. I know we'll live near each other again one day, but you can certainly have friendships across the miles. I think people think sometimes they don't count. And you can go on trips with these people. You can meet them a few times a year. You could whatever. But, if you keep up, in other ways, you can really keep facilitating that friendship. And even in an online community, you can absolutely find like-minded people that you could continue to chat with. I think it's pretty cool. What else do I want to say about that? I think are those the biggies? I'm sorry, I'm taking a minute. Okay. All right. So let's talk about strategies for people if you have social anxiety, and then I'll end. Okay. I feel like I have to talk a little about the issue of, again, introversion, social anxiety, that kind of thing, and forming new friendships, because, of course, that can make the process much harder. But there are strategies that can help. All right. So one is challenging your negative thoughts for sure. You got to recognize that negative thoughts about social interactions are often unfounded. So, obviously, techniques from cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, are perfect for reframing these thoughts. You know, I have a whole episode on cognitive reframing that I will link to. But you have to start there. If they only feel scary and horrible, and that's the only way you ever think of them, of course, you're never going to get there. Okay, so you got to shift. 2 is gradual exposure. Again, this is from the research, not just me like making these up. You know, start with small social interactions and gradually increase exposure to more challenging social situations, right? Because when you do this, you really build confidence over time, and it's really helpful. Usually with my clients, I tell them, when you go get your eyebrows done, consciously think I'm going to make eye contact. I'm going to be friendly. I'm going to ask maybe how someone is and wait for an answer. How long have you been working here? Anything like that. Like I got waxed the other day, and I was chatting with my waxer kind of the whole time. I was like, "Oh, where do you live? Where are you from? How long you been doing this?" Because I'm like the worst person in your chair. Like if you're some sort of service giver, because I am so interested in your life. Because me, I'm like, what do you do? What's happening? Are you married? Are you not? Do you have kids? Sometimes I'm quiet, I have to say, but sometimes I just want to sit and like be pampered or whatever. But a lot of the time I'm interested and I want to ask questions. And these are great ways to, again, sort of practice in these sort of lower stakes situations. But you can also be quiet. It's okay. Again, leveraging technology wisely is really good when you have social anxiety, right? Now, and again, online interactions shouldn't replace face-to-face ones, but they can serve, right? They can be like less intimidating, and they can be a starting point for building a relationship a friendship, which you then take somewhere else. Definitely join structured groups that will, because you have a commitment, you have something, with shared focus. Again, volunteer organizations, something that's a structured environment, not something that's all loosey-goosey, can help you get there, right? Definitely, I would say seek some professional help if this is really difficult for you. There's a lot of proven effective, of course, strategies for managing social anxiety. And as part of, again, that masterclass bundle I'm offering today, there's a list of social anxiety conversation starters in there, and a social anxiety exposure challenge. So again, I'll mention everything that comes in the bundle in a minute, but anyway. So, but I just I want you to really think about that's how I want to sort of end, I guess. I want you to think about the friendships in your life. Think about what's serving you and what's not. Think about where your boundaries are. Think about what you need. It's a privilege to be friends with you. I know if you're listening that you're probably a great friend. That is my guess, that you are a giver, you are somebody, because here you are listening, trying to better yourself. So at the very least, you're someone who's looking to grow. This is a great friend to have. This is a wonderful person to have in your life. It's a privilege to be friends with you. Do not think it's the other way around, okay? I'm not saying you should think you're above everybody and, piss on them, but I am saying, like, if you don't put yourself at least equal to them, like, hey, this person's so great. Oh my gosh, I'd love to be friends with them. They'd never be friends with me. If that's coming out of your mouth, you need to stop and take stock. Okay? Okay. So that is it for this week. I'm going to mention everything that's in the bundle in a minute. I'm going to remind you to definitely download the 7-Day Friendship Challenge. That is free to everybody. You will be put on you'll be put on my love letter list. Actually, you'll be put on the Love Bites list, which is my love letter twice a month. It's free. It's really just meant to inspire you. I'm not selling anything on there. If you like it and would like it weekly, if you're like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever, then you can sign up to get it weekly, and you either can pay $1.99 a month, or you can prepay $19.99 for the year and get my free 5 to Thrive Relationships Edition course, which is a $19.99 value. So basically, I don't know, you're getting one or the other for free if you do that, but it's up to you. If you don't like being on that list, you can just unsubscribe. I promise I will not be upset. Okay? So definitely download. I love you. I'm very happy you're here, and I appreciate your time and your energy. It means so much to me. And have an amazing week, and I'm going to stay on and talk about the different tiers and what's coming in the bundle. All right. Have a lovely week. Talk to you soon. Okay, it's just us. So So tier 1, which of course is my inner circle, you will get 50 ways to meet new people as an adult. You'll get am I in a healthy relationship quiz and friendship journaling prompts. Like I think I have 20 in there. Or maybe 18 or something. I don't know. I just kept writing prompts. Tier 2, which of course is the Love Accelerator. You will get everything in tier 1 plus social anxiety conversation starters and the social anxiety exposure challenge. Okay. And tier 3, which is my VIP Love Lab, you will, of course, get everything in tier 1 and 2 and a checklist for making new friends as an adult. So I just created this like checklist. Like, here's what you have to do to make new friends as an adult. I'm always trying to hold people's hand. Like, here you go. There's a friendship audit worksheet like I mentioned earlier. And then a friendship worksheet. It's really diving deeper into the why it's hard for you, why you need friends, why you maybe haven't been a good friend in the past, or you've been a great friend, but you haven't found good friendships. It's that deeper dive. Okay. So, I know all that. And if you are here and want the bundle, you can get all those things, including the free initial challenge all together in one place for $8, which I think is a pretty good deal. But I hope you would stay around and maybe think of being part of the One Love Collective, where you get live Q&As with me and you get early drops of the podcast. You don't have to listen to ads on the podcast. I mean, there's so many other great things that come with that. You get the community. Oh my gosh, we're all in there all the time. We have Wednesday now, where we put down wins on a Wednesday, and just people post questions in there and all kinds of things. And there are other people there who have a like mind, who want to be supportive and loving. And it is a very safe community. So, and I will keep it that way. And I'm in there all the time. I really am, because I love it. If the time comes, I won't do it. But I got to tell you, I'm pretty into it. All right, that is it. Now I get to say goodbye to all of you who have stayed to the very end. Aw, look at you here with me to the end. Try not to cry. Okay. Really appreciate you so much. If I don't say it enough. You really fill my heart and help my life feel so happy. All right. Mwah. I love you so much, and I'll talk to you in a week.